Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to wherever you are in the world. Just want to say hello and God bless. So I'm going to start right off by saying welcome to the debate center made for social media. The things I'm going to be talking about today are, of course, up for debate. So once you see this, I would tell you to get your questions, write your questions down, hit me up on Twitter or on YouTube, wherever you want to send them to me. And throughout the course of the next show, I'll be answering some of those questions that have been sent to me. Again, you're in the debate center made for social media. So the first thing I want to talk about is the NFL, and we're talking about quarterbacks that have been on fire, and two quarterbacks actually stand out right now to me. The first quarterback is always the great Tom Brady. He has his team on a high stroke at 8-2. Everybody was saying that 40 years old he was going to fall off, and the cliff was coming. But he's showing everybody that even at the age of 40, he still has what it takes to be a leader in the NFL, and still playing at a high level. The second one is a shock to me. And I'm not gonna go the Dallas route and go with Dak. I'm not gonna go the Saints route with Breeze. I'm not even gonna go down to Carolina with Cam Newton. I'm gonna stay in Philly and go with Carson Wentz. He's doing a magnificent job. I'm really shocked because towards the end of last season, he looked like he needed a lot of work to be a very productive NFL quarterback. However, this season he's come back looking like a veteran, playing at a what most professional analysts or most professional folks around the league would say he's having an MVP season through 10 games. I would have to agree with that, being that he has Philly at the top of the NFC East, sitting at 9-1, the best record in football as of right now. 4 games ahead of the closest team in the NFC East. So he's looking pretty good right now, pretty efficient for that team. Has a nice running game, and he's keeping plays alive with his legs. Not only keeping plays alive, but he's making the wideouts that Philadelphia has look like all stars, and they are not big name receivers. So shout out to Carson Wentz. Keep doing your thing, and you know your season is showing all of the productive work that you either put in on the off season or you're studying film throughout the season, and also a lot of reps that most quarterbacks get throughout the season as well. Staying on the NFL in the NFC, looking at the standings, like I said, the Eagles are at the top of the charts, sitting at 9-1, but the Rams are not too far behind at 7-3. You have the Vikings sitting at 8-2, and you also have the Saints sitting at 8-2. So it looks like these four teams are definitely pulling away from every other team in their division. Not the Saints so much because we mentioned Cam Newton earlier. He has the Panthers sitting at 7-3, only one game behind the Saints. So the NFC South, like always, is a battle for first place in that division. What I want to look at right now and talk about is Seattle. Seattle is only one game behind the Rams. They're at 6-4, but a lot of people think they may not make the playoffs this year. I have to tend to agree with the majority because their defensive backs are out on injury. They have a lot of injuries on the defense, and the Legion of Boom is not really the Legion of Boom as we all know it to be in their Super Bowl glory days. Cam Chancellor is out for the rest of the year. Richard Sherman is out for the rest of the year. Earl Thomas, he's in and out. So I think he's on injured reserve right now, and I could be wrong. However, give me your questions. Give me your thoughts about Seattle winning the NFC West, because, like I said, right now they're behind the Rams by one game. But do you think they can do it with with an average offense? Of course, Russell Wilson is not average by any means, all pro quarterback, and he can always get it done. However, when you have a defense that's banged up, as much as the Seattle defense is, do you think that they can make that playoff run? Give me your feedback. Let me know what you're thinking. Those questions that come in, I'll make sure that I'll shoot back some debatable answers, and we'll get on that topic next week. Not much to say about the NFC East, being that Philly is 9-1, Dallas is sitting at 5-5, and the Redskins are sitting at 4-6. The Giants, their record is so terrible they shouldn't even be mentioned this year in the National Football League. Just to look at their record, they have done everything wrong this year that can possibly go wrong has been happening to the Giants. They look like a little league team compared to the rest of the league right now. Maybe Cleveland and San Francisco are, about the only two teams that they could probably play against and, give a run for their money. The win that they have against Kansas City, well, the sun shines every now and again on even on a bad team. So let's just get off the New York Football Giants. But moving to the AFC, what's really, really interesting to me is the Bills and their quarterback predicament that they had last week. Why in the world would you move Tyrod Taylor? He's not the best quarterback in the league. However, he is a good quarterback. And I think the team found this out when they put the rookie in this past week. And in one half of football, he threw 5 interceptions. I don't wish bad on anybody, especially on a rookie who's trying to make his way on a team and, solidify his position. However, you're a rookie for a reason. And most rookies don't come in ready to go like Dak Prescott. So sit back, learn from the person who's starting and take a lot of notes. Look at a lot of film. Listen to your coaches, to your position coach, and to the starters that are starting over you, because you're a rookie for a reason. But the Bills, as far as an organization, I just believe you need to be better than that. You know what you have in Tyrod Taylor. You know you have a quarterback that's in Tyrod Taylor. He's coming out of like the Michael Vick era. He can pass accurately. He can run. He can make you miss. He's very agile, very, very athletic and explosive. So Start tailing, and not only to say that, but you also have a running back in Shady McCoy that's in your backfield. So you have the weapons on offense to be a great team. You just need to start utilizing those weapons, especially on third down. Start opening up your playbook. Stop being scared of not making that first down. Use your weapons because you have some weapons, and stop being so tight on the coaching side of the ball. Let your athletes be athletes. Moving on to the Chiefs. Alex Smith is a great quarterback. Anytime I get a chance to watch the Chiefs play, I really have an optimistic eye when I'm looking at the Kansas City Chiefs. They have a great quarterback who's been a great head coach who's been a great head coach for a really, really long time. But the thing that puzzles me about the Chiefs is this. They're sitting on top of the AFC West at 6-4. Now, the closest team behind them, I believe, is the Chargers at 4-6, 2 games behind them. So it looks like the Chiefs, with the last 6 games or 7 games of the year, they're actually going to run away and sit at the top of the AFC West and go ahead and cruise into the playoffs, which normally they do. However, I think at this point they should have a better record than what they do have. They have an explosive young running back. Have a great team on defense. So I'm not sure what's going on. Something's not clicking with them. But I'm going to get off the Chiefs right now. But they have a great team, a great coaching staff. I just think they need to tighten up their play. Stop getting so many penalties. Stop making mental mistakes on the defense. They really have a good special teams, and I think they need to open up their playbook just a little bit more. But the second half of the season, or the last third of this season, I think they'll show exactly who they are, and they'll make a big run, winning the last 5 out of 6 or 6 out of 7 games, moving into the playoffs. So watch for them. They're going to be coming up, and they're going to make a lot of noise going into the playoffs this year. A lot of people looked at the Steelers early on, and they thought Big Ben Roethlisberger was going to fall off the wagon. He's always soul searching at the end of the season, and we're always wondering if this is going to be his last year, if he's going to retire, or if he's going to come back. If he's going to retire a Steeler, you can best believe that. I don't think he's going to be traded. A lot of people talked about the issues that him and Coach Tomlin have had, small issues throughout the course of their career, working together as the head coach and the number one quarterback option in Pittsburgh. However, I just think that seeing their record right now, 8-2, that's who they are. They find a way to grind out every win that they do win, every game that they do win, regardless if it's a close game or not. And they have the best wide receiver in the game right now in Antonio Brown. So as long as they have Antonio Brown and Big Ben, that 1-2 punch right there is going to be hard for any team in their division to catch them, pass them, and win that division. And they got a running back there by the name of Bell, who's just on fire every year. So watch out for them moving into the second half of this season. They could definitely be a 14-2 team at the end of this year. Uh, I don't foresee them losing more than 4 games, and 4 games is a pretty big stretch. So we'll see at the end of this season. Getting off of the NFL right now, I was going to move to the NBA, but due to time management, the only thing I'll say about the NBA is it's early in the season, and we all know that it's hard to make the playoffs in the West. However, we've had some trades this year, and the West Coast is, or the Western Conference, is definitely going to be something to watch. We've already seen the defending champions get beat a couple of times. Of course, this is just the regular season. However, when you see Dub City go into a hostile environment like Oklahoma, and they're down by 20 and 22 and 25 and almost 30, and they wind up losing by double digits. You're going to see a lot of people coming at the defending champions with everything they have. Houston has a really good team this year, adding Chris Paul, and we all know that that piece, along with the bearded man, is just going to make their team a little more dynamic. And they also have a key piece nobody is really speaking on as of yet, but Trevor Ariza. He is a great player, and he's going to be around the league and has been around the league for a little while. As a veteran, he's going to be one of those players that you definitely need down the stretch. San Antonio, they are who everybody thinks they are, coached by Popovich. They're going to be there, definitely one of the top 3, maybe 4 teams in the Western Conference. But switching over to the East just really fast, and I'm not going to take up too much time on the NBA because I want to get to college football. I really have this one question that I want to ask to end the show today on a college football note. But just to touch up on the NBA and the East during conference, everybody knew that with the loss of Kyrie Irving in Cleveland, they were going to come down just a notch. They're still a great team, but I don't know if they're the team to beat in the East this year. We've seen the Celtics run 16 games in a row. I think it was like 36 or 38 days that they hadn't lost a game, but they ran into a good Miami Heat team, and Miami pinned them down a little bit, had them down by 20 plus, and they made their way back, brought it within 90-91, and then Miami kind of ran away with it again. However, the East is making a little noise now because Philly has a good squad this year. Miami has a good squad this year. We already talked about Cleveland, and now the Celtics are looking like they are the number 1 seed in the East, as they were last year. However, give me your thoughts and your opinion also about the New York Knicks, because since they have traded Melo to Oklahoma City, they've been balling out. they've been balling out. They have a record of, I want to say it's 11-6 or something like that. And I could be wrong on the losses, but I know they have at least 11 wins. And even if you take their 11 wins, they're not at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. And the Eastern Conference is really coming up as of this year. Let me know what you think about who's going to be at least 1 through 4 in the Western and the Eastern Conference. Anything after 4 can really be debated on a scale as far as the season progresses towards the end of the NBA regular season. But right now, who do you see 1 through 4 in the Eastern and the Western Conference? Switching gears to where I wanted to go, and I'm moving into the NCAA Division 1A college football. I've had quite a few interesting conversations with people who like this playoff system. Some folks like the BCS playoff system a little better. However, we're in this era right now where in Division 1 football we have a playoff system with 4 teams. The top 4 teams in college football moving into the playoff system, and whatever conference these teams represent, they take and they move forward, and you have one game on the left, one game on the right. The winner of those 2 games play head to head, and winner takes all for the national championship. And it worked great the first year. Thumbs up to Ohio State. It worked great the second year. Thumbs up to Alabama. But I really have a question that I think can be debated. The folks that I've spoke with already, some agree, some disagree. But world, I want to know what you think. So this is the debatable question on this week. When I look across the landscape of college football, and we're talking about Division 1A conferences, I know that you have your Division 1 AA schools like the Big Sky, the MEAC, the SWAC, and things like that. But we're not talking about Division 1 AA. We're talking about Division 1A. And we have 11 conferences in Division 1A. So what really bothers me is at the end of the season, if we have 11 conferences in Division 1A, that means you have 11 conference champions. So my question is, if you have 11 conference champions, why is it we have a 4-team playoff system when you have 11 championship teams out there? I was thinking about this, and I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today, and what really puzzled me was we always mention the ACC, we always mention the SEC, we always mention the Big 12, we always mention Notre Dame out of the independent conference. However, we have the Mountain West, we have the Pac-12, we have the Big Ten, Sun Belt. We have all of these Conference USA, the Mid American Conference. We have all these conferences, and all of these conferences will have every year will have a conference champion. Well, the NCAA College Football Championship, it's called the NCAA Championship. It's not called the Big Four Conference Championship or the Big Five Conference Championship or the 4-team playoff championship. So if it is the championship to crown the best team in college football, why not take all conference champions? Because clearly, to win your conference, you have to be the best team in your conference. Why not take all 11 champions, put them in a playoff bracket, and let them fight for that NCAA championship? Now, I understand the playoff bracket with 11 teams may be an uneven bracket. However, the number one team in college football more than likely will be the conference champion. So that conference champion, that's the number one team in college football, they would get a bye the first week of the playoffs. The other 10 teams would then battle it out to move forward and run your playoff system. That way, every conference champion will have a chance at the national title instead of just the top 4 schools due to whatever qualifications the 11 board members feel that year. Sometimes I don't think it's fair that the Conference USA and the Mountain West, the Pac-12, the Sun Belt Conference, these teams don't get represented like they should because of things like strength of schedule. However, in order to win a conference championship, you must be the best out of that conference. That's just plain and simple. Now, we can take Alabama and we can take Notre Dame out of the independent conference, and we can take Stanford, and we can take, anybody we want to take out of these conferences. I just believe that whomever is the conference champion should have a shot at the NCAA championship. And if you are a conference champion, I think that your players should want to be or should want to talk about engaging in a debate about, hey, I'm a conference champion. The SEC has a conference champion. The ACC has a conference champion. Just because I'm 11-1 and I have another team that's 10-2 and I have a team that's 12-0, just because I have 2 losses, if I'm still a conference champion, I think that should earn me a right because I'm the best of whatever conference I'm in. It's not my fault that you're in a conference with Auburn or the Georgias or the Alabamas or the USCs of the world. But if you are, those conference champions you should be in just as well as any big name school. So give me your questions, give me your comments, shoot me your debatable answers, and let's talk about this thing because next week when I come back, we'll be talking about the NFL. We'll be talking about the NBA. We'll definitely be discussing more college football because they're towards the end of their season and the playoff hunt is coming, and conference championship games are coming up. So these are some of the things that I definitely want to talk about. So again, hit me up on YouTube, hit me up on Twitter, shoot me your questions, and I will make sure that throughout the broadcast I will answer your questions and we can debate on some things. Again, this is the Debate Center made for social media, and I'm your host, McKinley Miller. I will talk to you soon. Blessings.